Welcome to the Jackal Racing Funrace. This is the second race of the season for the fun races. I'm your host, AJ Schlotterbeck here. First race I've commentated here. We're here at Daytona International Speedway for a 50-lap race. That's 125 miles on this two and a half mile tri-oval. I think we got something like 13 cars here. And we can we're definitely hoping for a good one. Got a big field, and big field sometimes can mean big wrecks, but these guys, I'm sure, are very capable, and I'm looking forward to seeing the race. So they're going to do one pace lap, and then they're going to go green. And I believe that we have, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 cars in the field, 13, excuse me. The field's going to be led to the green flag by the one guy who's not on my timing GUI. Amazing. No, it's vibe checks for you. There he is. So he's going to be leading this field to the green flag, 50 laps. Should be a good one. Right now, they are currently sitting in turns 3 and 4 as they come into 3. They'll take the green flag at the restart zone. The strategy for this race is going to be a pack race, as always at Daytona. But they're going to have to watch their engine temperatures and tire wear because it's harder to hold the bottom on older tires, and if your engine blows up, you ain't going to be going too fast. Fuel shouldn't be a real issue here. They're not expected to have a pit stop, from what I was told. So as we come to the restart zone, the green flag is out here at Daytona International Speedway for the fun race. And Vibe Checks for You is going to lead them towards turn 1. Got a couple of cars 3 wide, 77 looking to make a move there in the middle. And gets stacked up a little bit, spins it sideways, locks it up in front of the field. And that's 3 cars involved in that one in turns 1 and 2. Looks like everyone kept it going though. So I don't think we'll be getting a caution on that. This is lap 1, the GUI is a liar. And Vibe Checks has to watch for a run here. 71 comes down the inside. I believe that is Good Square. No, sorry, Good Square is in the 27. Our new leader in the 71 car is Zane DeTrain. Very good racer. He knows what he's doing. He's a pretty dang good driver. As they come down towards 1 and 2 again, Zane DeTrain fading down towards the inside. And then he actually washes all the way up the track and lets the 27 get past everybody. That's Good Square now, getting to the front. Oh no, the 11 gets into him. A little bit too big of a push. And he's going to get sideways and end up saving it. Looks like we're going to stay green after that one. That was just too big of a push from the 11 there. And now the 19 to the front. Vibe Checks for You actually gives a little bit of a push up to the 11, shoves him up the track, holds his position in second. And the 3 car with a completely unpronounceable name is now looking for 3rd place. Looks like he's got it. Gets around the 11 there. The 11 drops back. They're 3 wide further back in the pack, but these first 3 cars, you can put a blanket over them. They're ahead of everyone is the 77. Smoking at the back, locks it down, spinning. Another car goes around, washes up, hits the wall. I believe that would be Good Square now spinning, and the caution will come out for that. It's our first real big incident of the day. 2 cars spinning in turns 1 and 2. And now they'll come back around to take the caution flag. The leader will be, once again, the 19 of Chris Bald Paul. He got up to the front there. Pretty good charge, actually. He made some nice moves. And on lap 4, the caution comes out for 2 cars going around in turns 1 and 2. Not a particularly massive accident, just not in a great place, and 2 cars that were involved weren't able to keep it going. I believe Cam Baker was involved, along with Good Square, and maybe one other car. Don't know who that was, but one other car perhaps involved in that. So now under the caution, they're on the back straightaway. Everyone's all caught up. I don't think that they'll be going green next time by. They might be. Or this time by, sorry. They might do it next time. We'll see, though. But so far from this race, not any mechanical problems yet, and only a couple of cars that got together and got into each other in a bad way. We saw a really good save on the first lap, and nearly had a big wreck. But with this many cars, you have to expect there to be a few issues. You have to expect there's going to be a calamity or a big one at some point. And they've held off on that so far. Only a 10th of the way through this thing, but they are going pretty dang quick running these laps down. And I feel like if we can get a really good long green flag run, that would be beneficial as they all come down pit road. See how many cars stay out. Looks like most everybody went down pit lane. One car misses the pit entry there. That is, I believe, NASCAR Fame 333 backs up to get on the right side of the cone. Make sure he's good with the officials here at Jackal. And that's going to be a pretty bad pit stop for him. He was already pretty far in the back, though. I think he was running something like 10th before that. Our leader is Vibe Checks for You. He was also our pole sitter in this race. He got shuffled back early. Or didn't get shuffled too far back, but he wasn't leading after, I believe, lap 2. And they still haven't been given the 1 to go signal, as far as I can tell, so they're going to probably cycle around again. Everyone seems to get through their pit stops without any major issues, though. Everyone's out of the pits now. So we might be able to go green next time. We'll see what the officials say. But so far, the story of the day has been, you know, trying to preserve your stuff, because this is a pretty long race, 125 miles. And in that time, you're definitely going to run into a few issues. I mean, with this big of a field, there's going to be some wrecks as they come towards the restart zone. I believe they will not be going green this time, but we'll see. And Vibe Checks for You is leading, whatever happens. And yeah, I believe they'll take the 1 to go now. Not entirely familiar with the procedure here, but I think now would be when they take 1 to go. Or not. Still haven't gotten the 1 to go flag on the top. But whenever they do go green, I do feel like this next... Okay, it will be 1 to go. So they'll be going green next time by. I feel like in this race, you don't want to be stuck in the pack. You either want to be back behind the pack in a place where you can react to anything that happens in front of you, not get caught up in any incidents, or you want to be so far ahead of everyone that it's unlikely for the accident to happen near you. It's just, you know, problem of probability. As cars, I believe, are now choosing the inside and outside lane. Although I do not know. Still, not entirely familiar with the procedure here. This is my first Jackal race commentate. First Jackal race even watching. I've tried out the cars before, but I've never actually been associated with this league. And I gotta say, they've been on a pretty dang good show. The drafting mechanics are spot on. And now there's a wreck under caution as well. The Nike car went around there. Looks like he's going to keep it going. That was an interesting little spinaroonie there. As they come towards the restart zone, everyone's all doubled up. And the green flag is out. Vibe Checks for You. Doesn't get the greatest start ever, but looks like the 7 isn't going to have enough of a run on the high side to completely clear him. And he's got about a car length there, and the 7 fades on the outside line. All things being equal, you want to be on the inside, even with the wall draft. And, you know, if there's the same amount of cars in both lanes, the inside lane is probably going to do better. As the 11 gets together there with Vibe Checks for You, that was nearly a disaster. That could have taken out a lot of cars, could have gotten a lot of cars caught up in it, but thankfully they were all able to keep it going pretty straight. 77 washes up the track, side drafts the 11 a little bit. They have 3 wide now in the pack. And the 34 is going to get right on the rear bumper there of Vibe Checks for You and give them a really good push. And they're 3 wide for second now. A little bit of door banging going on. 77 gets forced below the yellow. And a big line of cars. Oh, we got a car sideways in the pack. That's going to send Good Square around, I believe. Actually, no, Good Square got through that. Don't know who all got caught up in that. And now they're still wrecking on the back straightaway. And that one is going to stack up a couple cars against the wall. Looks like everyone actually kept it going, though, somewhat. I don't know how they did, but 8K Isaiah got packed up against the wall there. I thought they were all going to wreck into him, but everyone managed to keep their foot in it, keep themselves from getting all spun around, and we will stay green. Vibe Checks for You goes to the high side there, and the 27 is going to try and go low to pass him, but Good Square not able to quite get his nose under there. Good Square now just filing into line, and we're seeing the cars start to get single file a little bit. Before the race, I actually talked with the owner of Jackal, and he said that that's been something that they've been seeing a bit, is the cars, something about the cars right now, people just seem to like going single file, getting in one big line. And it's Good Square goes up to the high side. The 19 goes up with him, but then cuts back down to slot into 3rd place. Vibe Checks for You in the lead. I believe that behind him is one other car, and then Chris Bald Paul. Chris Bald Paul, another guy I know, he's really good, Chris Bald Paul. He is a proper talent. And I think that we can certainly expect good things from him in this race. We're about a fifth of the way through this deal here, and still a lot of mileage to go. Chris Paul gets a good push there from the 3, but right now it looks like no one's really... Oh, he gets actually shot out of line. That's not good for him. He's going to probably try and fade back down to the bottom. I guess maybe he will stay high. Nope. Good Square goes up with him, but Chris Paul decides to cut back down to the bottom. Good Square is now going to be stuck too wide with the 3, trying to get in the draft of the 19 there. 77 goes up wide, but everyone does slot back into line coming into the first dogleg of the tri-oval. As Vibe Checks for You is getting a push here from, I believe that would be Irony Rares. It's an interesting name. But so far, not too eventful of a race. There's a bit of smoke in the second dogleg in the tri-oval. I don't know exactly what happened there. Try and figure that out. That's 8K Isaiah, and I believe he may have blown his motor. Yeah, thick black smoke pouring out of that thing. That thing's toast. That is something that you got to watch. If you're in the draft of another car, you're not getting the air on the grill that you need, and you can actually pretty easily overheat the engine and blow these things. And that's what happened there, and that's unfortunate for him. He was probably looking to have a better day than he had right there, and that blew the engine. Now we're going 3 wide for the lead, almost 4. And there they... Ooh, that's sketchy, and Good Square is going to go for a little bit of a ride down in the pavement in the inside of 1 and 2. He's going to slide back up on the track. Nearly collects another car, but they all save it. And it looks like now Rony Rares is going to be at the front of the field. There's the blown engine car down on the inside of 8K Isaiah. And on the outside, the 19 of Chris Paul trying to hold it. He's going to get a push here from the 61, I believe that is. Or is that the 18? It's the 18. The scheme's just mirrored on the other side. That's interesting. 3 wide for third. They're actually slowing each other down, I think. I don't think that being stuck there in the middle is too good for that gray car there. As the 18 now gets on the bumper, pushes 1 car up the track, and he's going to slot back down on the inside line. Looks like the inside line is where you want to be. That's where the majority of the moves have been made. Outside line hasn't been all too powerful. But we've seen a couple of moves made on the outside. And that smoke on the back straightaway is from 8K Isaiah still. So no one else has blown their motor from what I can tell. But you got to be watching those temps right now. You also got to be watching your tires and your fuel. Because I believe there may actually need to be a pit stop. I was told there wouldn't be, but I don't know. Just looking at the fuel these guys have left, they might have to come in at some point. And there's a car up against the inside wall, or outside wall, excuse me. Second half of the dog leg. Looks like he keeps it going though. As up at the front, the 3 car is pushed to 7 past the 51. And now we get a little bit of a cycling deal kind of going on at the front of the field. As people are watching their temperatures, trying to figure out where they want to be in this pack. You don't want to get caught up in something and get sent all the way to the end of the field, you know. But you don't want to be too far ahead, because if you get too far ahead, if you're the leader, if you're a group of leaders, you can have the guys just kind of run up on you and get a huge pass. And that's never easy to block. So there's kind of a medium where you want to be in this field right now. Some guys are actually just kind of letting themselves fall back, it looks like, while other guys are pushing really hard trying to get to the front. Right now, the 7 car leading this pack, that is Kreesum, as the 3 car with just a completely unpronounceable name goes around the outside. It's going to have the 51 here to help him. Going to try and give him a shove around the 7. I don't know if this is going to work, but he gets a huge run coming through 3 and 4. And now we're starting to see that double wide action that we were promised. There's a 3 car holding the outside line. 51's going to be able to get right back up on him again. As Chris Paul gets into that gray car there, shoves the 34 up into the wall. That's going to stack everyone up. Actually broke up the outside line a little bit and help the 7 get back to about a half car length advantage on the 3. 8, the track gets the 51 there. Now that outside line really falling apart. They are 4 wide there in the group. Looks like everyone's going to be able to hang on to it as the 3 car pulls back down after all that work to get back into second place. So all in all, not the worst of moves. And now he slides up and turns 3 and 4. Don't think he's going to be getting any help up there though, because the outside line is completely unorganized. And the 27 now is going to pull up into second. And there's a car spinning. The 34 got sent around by the 51 there near the back of the pack. He's going to try and hang on to it. And now the 19 flips over in the group. And that's 3 cars, 4 cars involved now. And that will be a caution. And we were talking about the big one. That was pretty damn big. Now they'll come back around. They are rocketing back around to the start-finish line. That was very interesting there. Now the 7 car is going to try and hold them off. Coming back around on the race back. Shouldn't have too much of a problem doing that. Seems like when you're the leader in this group, as long as you're able to hold down on the bottom, it's really hard to get around you. And the 71 is just going backwards in turns 1 and 2. We'll ignore that for now. Or 3 and 4, excuse me. So there's a lot of smoke there. Quite a bit of a visibility issue on the front stretch. But looks like most of the cars got through that without losing too much in relative to the other cars. And since the caution will come out, I'll bunch everyone back up. So nobody really off the pace because of that. AK Isaiah, however, is 3 laps down after coming out of pit road. His engine blew up about 10 laps ago. So he's going to have quite a long road back to the front. We're going to see what happens here. Under the caution flag, not quite to the halfway point of the race. So far, the racing's been pretty dang good. Only 2 cautions in about 20 laps. So that would mean, doing some simple math, that your average green flag run is about 10 laps long. If we extrapolate those ratios out to the rest of the race, you could definitely expect to have some more cautions during this thing. And with there not being a comp yellow, it's going to be interesting how the strategy plays out. Now we have some cars coming down pit road, I assume, this time as well for tires and new fuel. Looks like everyone's going to come down, see who stays out. Looks like the 34 machine's going to, nope, cuts down at the last minute. And everybody comes down pit road. So now this is going to be a jostling act, trying to make sure that you get to the stall and don't get forced out. And the 34 and the 77 both going for the same spot. And the 11 has gone sideways in front of everyone. That's not going to help the 34 at all. He's going to have to take a long pit stop. Same with 8K Isaiah, who's coming back onto the track now. I believe they put him on the lead lap now, so I'll see about that. Figure that out. But the 3 car comes out. Isaiah has been put back on the lead lap. He scored there. I guess he was a lucky dog, technically. Got all 3 of his laps back. So the 3 car now leading this race. If anybody can tell me how to pronounce the 3 car's name, do it in chat. I am looking at chat from time to time. So if anybody has any ideas on how to pronounce G triple T triple B H G F F Y. All right. It's been explained to me that if you blow an engine, you just get the lucky dog. Makes sense. Thank you. All right. Shout out to Fat Man for the great explanation on them rules there. That's a Funrace. It's Funrace only rules. Well, so everyone's on the lead lap. They're going to come towards the restart zone. They're not going to take the green flag this time by. I believe they'll probably be given 1 to go until the green. As long as everyone's caught up. Looks like everyone is. So it'll be leading the race will be the 3 car. Go ahead and interview someone. Oh, bro. Just arranging something there. Sorry for the dead air there. They're going to be coming to green next time by. It's going to be the 3 on the inside, 11 on the outside. And that's... it's going to be interesting, honestly, because so far, not a lot of wrecks. Only 2 real accidents to speak of. And now they're going to have 1 under caution as well. Good square got turned there by the 51, I believe. He'll probably gas it to catch up. 77 goes around as well. Seen that happen a couple times. Cars get around under caution. I assume they'll still go green this time. Everyone seems to be in line still. They come to the restart zone. Green flag is given. Good run there by the 3. Gets back down to the bottom very quickly. Blocks the 11's run. He's going to hold that lead. And they've actually got a little bit of space between them and the pack. Seems like they're the only 2 that got a really good restart. 51 goes to the outside of the 27. Doesn't quite get anything there, though. But everyone's filing into line, and everybody's picking up pace. Takes a little bit to get sped up. 11 car peaks high. And 8K Isaiah not able to get anything working there. Here comes Good Square. We saw him get spun under the last caution. He's very good at these plate tracks from what I've seen, and he seems to know what he's doing today. Gets a good push there from the 7. And he's going to get pushed all the way through the tri-oval, coming towards 1 and 2. And I'm watching his inputs right now. He is barely touching the throttle. He's just letting himself get pushed all the way around this racetrack right now. He comes up on the 3 car. Not going to get anything there. Everybody's kind of stacked up into one line. A second group is formed about 4 seconds back, or not 4 seconds back, about 14 car lengths back, excuse me, from the lead group. We're going to see what happens with that. Seems like those guys just got separated a little bit. They still have the draft. And they went through the smoke right there from the previous lap calamity. Ken Baker seems to have blown his engine. He's come down pit road. That's tough for him. As a couple of cars actually got shoved down onto the apron, coming through the tri-oval, but it looks like everybody kept it going. Good Square goes to the outside and gets shuffled back. Getting some clean air on his motor there as well, so that'll help his temps. In the second pack of cars, Zayden Core is currently pushing the 26, getting pushed by the 71, excuse me. And they're all trying to just save right now, I believe. I don't think they're actually in too much of a hurry to get caught up to the lead group, it seems like. Because I feel like they if they could, they wouldn't, honestly. But they seem to be right where they want to be. As we see another car blows its engine, and they all gonna... Oh, no, he's in the air there. Multiple cars involved in that one. One car skirting the inside wall. Big wreck in the tri-oval. Ronnie Rares blew his motor, and they piled into him. No caution yet. And now the caution will come out as they race down the back straightaway, coming back to the caution flag. Halfway point as well. But Ronnie Rares blew his engine, and that back group of cars, unfortunately, left with nowhere to go. They went high to try and avoid it, and they just all got stacked up into him. That involves 5 cars in that wreck. As they come back for the race back, NASCAR fame 333 is going to get turned by the 3, but he's going to spin all the way around and save it, and he'll be leading at the caution. And they are trying to right the ship, gets the car to pivot. That's not good for the tires, though. That is not good for the tires at all. And that is the caution. So the caution comes out. That's our third caution of the day. We're going to try and get an interview with one of the drivers right now. I'm just trying to find out who's not muted. This is interesting. I'm going to try and get it. We're going to see how many attempts it takes to try and get somebody for an interview here. All right, Good Square's in here now. Hello, Good Square. How's it going, man?
I am doing good. How are you?
That's good to hear. I'm doing pretty well myself. Now, in this race right now, you're sitting not too far back, coming into pits third right now. What is the strategy going to be from here on out in this race, especially with a couple of guys blowing their motors? How are you keeping that thing cool?
Okay, for me, it's just to let off as much as I can. I'm just letting off like almost every single corner to save fuel and to save my engine temps. For now, let's just try to see how far I can get with this ticket fuel.
All right. And we saw you actually coming through 1 and 2 earlier, completely off the throttle while someone was pushing you. Are you going to be planning to do that for the rest of the race, or?
Until I'm sure I can completely make it, that's the plan. Yeah.
That's the plan. All right. Well, good luck out there. Thanks for the little quick interview. I assume you guys will be taking the 1 to green this time. Next time by. Thanks for the interview, Good Square. See ya.
Welcome.
That was Good Square, driver of the number 27 Toyota Camry. We're going to be taking the 1 to green next time by, I believe. So far in this race, 3 different motors have blown. So definitely going to be watching these temps. That's kind of what you're trying to do right now. People are telling me to interview Kreesum. I'll try and do that next caution. I got y'all, all right? I got y'all, chat. We will now see what happens. So they come towards the restart zone. They'll double up this time. Or I don't know if they're doubling up or if they just kind of go double wide. I don't know if they're supposed to or not. Probably should have read the rule book, but this is kind of a short notice deal for me. Very glad to be here, though. It's fun commentating a league that's considered very high quality, and the racing's been pretty dang good so far, especially for a fun race. When my guys have a fun race, they usually wreck 90 times. So this is certainly a new experience for me. So WaterNet 94, it is a single file restart according to the chat. So absolute tragedy. I tell y'all they're going to double up, and they go single file. But the 77 is going to be leading them here. And that Shell number 77 Ford machine. It's going to be a long line of cars. Everyone's going to try and do what they can do to get to the front right now. I feel like we're past the halfway point, so now I think you want to be getting yourself set up for the run to the finish. The logic that we have so far from this race would tell us that we're going to get one more caution. If we extrapolate, amount of cautions per green flag laps, we're probably going to have a caution pretty soon. Within about 10 laps is probably going to be our final caution, although at the end of the race you can certainly get an uptick in yellows. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly happens here. With, I believe they'll be coming this time by to 22 to go. So they come to the restart zone, WaterNet leads them, gets on the throttle, and the green flag is out. Big push there from the 19. He's actually going to get alongside the 77. Chris Paul now is going to shove it down the inside lane. Doesn't need any help. He's just got in the track position where he needs to be. And now he's going to lead this race. He comes up and actually side draft, door bang, whatever you want to call that, into the 77 and loses that very short-lived lead. Vibe checks for you on the inside line, getting a huge push from the 27. There's a car down on the apron there. Everyone managed to successfully avoid that. And now Chris Paul has shuffled all the way back to the end of this lead group. His vibe checks for you, gets a big push from the 27 there. Gets alongside the 77, and now he's going to lead. 77 left all alone on the high side. As good square pushes vibe checks for you to the lead. It's got 8K Isaiah, who blew his motor earlier in the race. As they come towards the back straightaway now. I feel like now is the time where you got to start getting going. Now is the point in the race where you need to try and really get yourself into a good position for the finish. It doesn't necessarily mean leading the race, doesn't even mean being up at the front. Just need to be in a position where you can time out the end of this race and be where you want to be on that final run, come into the checker to try and set yourself up for a win. So we're seeing these guys do that right now. A lot of jostling going on in the pack. A couple of guys 2-3 wide there for a moment. But right now they're just mostly single file. Got some 2 wide racing for 4th place there. Looks like the 7's going to be able to get the push. And no, they stack up. The 71 goes around, 26 around. Lots of smoke. And I don't know if they're going to save that. One car completely backwards across the track. Gets back on the throttle. And it looks like he will be able to right that ship, so to speak, and keep himself on the straight and narrow. So we stay green after that little scare there. And a caution now would definitely throw off the strategy. 51 goes to the high side. Got a push from the 77. He's actually got a huge run, NASCAR fame does. He's going to pull back down in front of the 11 car of 8K Isaiah. 8K Isaiah gets a little bit into the 7. But a really good move right there by NASCAR fame 333, getting up to the front now. 2nd place sitting right behind Good Square. Gives Good Square a push through the corner. And this is definitely going to be interesting to see what happens between these two. He jostles with them a little bit, uses the bumper, gets alongside, and now we're going to have a new leader, NASCAR fame 333, getting up alongside Good Square. The 11 car getting pushed by the 7. Things are getting really racy up here. And it looks like the 51 machine is going to be able to get himself thoroughly planted in the lead. They're going to be 3 wide for 5th or 6th back there as they file back in. And the 7 actually pushes the 11 of 8K Isaiah inside of the 51 who washed up in the tri-oval, and now he takes the lead. So the racing here, very, very interesting. A lot of different strategies, a lot of things to think about plate racing is, they call it 200-mile-an-hour chess, and when you're dealing with engine temperatures, tire temps, looking at your fuel, trying to set up your run to the finish, it definitely turns into a bit of a chess match, I can give you that. There's a little bit of smoke back there, I don't know what that was for, but don't believe anyone's motor blew. Looks like someone might have just gotten sideways, I don't know what that was about. As the 7 machine now of Creasem gets to the front. And that is a great move right there. He gets himself right up to where he wants to be. Vibe checks for you, gets almost turned up there by the 3 car. Manages to keep it down there on the bottom. Didn't even lose a spot to that. And here comes Vibe checks. Gives a little peek to the outside, cuts back down onto the bottom. Apparently we're doing a crank it up now, so I'll shut the heck up. All right, we are back here. Daytona International Speedway, 36 laps out of 50 here. 125-mile-an-hour 125-mile fun race at 200 miles an hour, and the 11 gets turned up the track, and that might collect a few cars. He's gonna get it back on the throttle and get it turned around. That was a bit of a scare there for 8K Isaiah. We're back from the crank it up. This has certainly been an interesting race, and now we're coming past 20 to go. We're actually at 25 laps to go in this deal, or less than 25 laps to go. Sorry, I think we're at... Oh, well, I'm bad at math. 15 to go. There we go. It's been a long day for me. This is some exciting racing. Tires you out, man. So the new leader now is going to be the 34 machine of... Let me get him here on my thing. Zayden Core 24. 51 back there is NASCAR fame, and vibe checks for you in that gray car. No texture. Those 3 cars have been racing up at the front pretty much all day. A couple of guys who aren't at the front right now are Good Square, 8K Isaiah, and Chris Bald Paul. They seem to be sitting back in the pack right now. Earlier in this race, they were leading this thing, those 3 cars. And right now, the 34 and the 51, you saw them peek up to the high side there, almost breaking up the draft. Oh, we got trouble in the pack again. I believe that may be the 11 car again as well. No, that was the... Actually, don't know who that was. I think that was WaterNet, maybe? I couldn't for the life of me tell you who that was. One car just got turned around and kept it going. It looks like it was Good Square. I think Good Square has changed his car's paint scheme at least 3 times during this race, which is some, you know, just some great technology there to be able to paint the entire automobile while on the move. The 7 machine now gets pushed down the inside line past the 34, and that's going to be another new leader. That's going to be Creasem. We've been told to get an interview with him next caution, so we'll try our best. He gets ridden up the track there. We're coming towards 12 laps to go this time around, and it's getting racy now because these guys know that you want to be in a good spot right now. Right now, you've spent the last run trying to set yourself up for this, and that's why these cars who are in the front group, I feel like, are in a really good position because they're in a spot where once it's 10 to go, 5 to go, 2 to go, whenever anyone tries to start making their moves, they're where they want to be to get those pushes, to get into the position to try and win this thing. As Zayden Core 24 now just slotting into line, everybody's doing all sorts of weaving back in that second group as they all get in now. Probably going to try and get in a train and catch up to the front pack. Here comes the 34 there, Zayden Core. 7 car either washed up there due to the old tires, he's on about 75%, or he's just having some sort of issue with the, getting the engine temps up there. And here come the cars starting to come down pit road. We talked about saving during the last caution and during the interview with Good Square. And some of these guys have decided that now is the time to come down pit road. We have our car spinning in turn 2. Looks like the 26 car is going to be able to save it there. But interesting decision there. Some of these cars are staying out. Some of these cars are coming down pit road. I don't think you can make it to the end, even with some really, really aggressive fuel saving. If you're down below 500 fuel, I don't think you're making it 10 laps. But Zaydencore stayed out for an extra lap on top of those cars that didn't pit, or those cars that did pit, and he stays out again. It'll be interesting to see what happens. All the different strategies that come into play right now, you got fuel saving, tire saving, trying to save your engine temperatures. There's a lot of things that come into this right now. It ain't just turning left. As Vibe Checks for You and Zaydencore still staying out there on the racetrack. I don't believe anybody's actually going to go a lap down as a result of their pit strategy. But there is certainly a risk you take on by getting off the different strategy from all the other cars. Because if they end up being right, you get a pretty big disadvantage. But if you end up being right, you can gain a huge advantage. That is the risk assessment you have to take when making different pit strategy calls. And on a plate track like Daytona or Talladega, it can be an even bigger risk. Because say that you are able to pit with one other car, but everybody else comes down in a group with 15 cars. The group of 15 cars is going to be traveling faster around the track and is definitely going to have an advantage over you. So you want to try and pit when other cars are pitting, which can either accentuate or nullify the advantage you gain. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. We're inside 10 to go now. Zaydencore and Vibe Checks for You still staying out there. Chris Bald-Paul's got a group of 2 cars with him. It's the 18 and the blank car of, I believe, Ronnie Rares. Yes, it's Ronnie Rares' blank car. And they're going to actually go 2 wide there for a moment. A little bit of a shuffling going on in that pack. This thing comes down to a fuel mileage race as they go 3 wide in that group. That was scary. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens at the end here, especially if it comes down to fuel mileage with guys trying to race for it. I don't know if Zaydencore and Vibe Checks are going to make it. Zaydencore is spending a lot of time off the throttle, but he's also honestly on the gas more than I would expect him to be. He's on the gas a lot more than Good Square was. I do wonder if he's just trying to push it and then pit later, because he does not seem to be saving at all watching him right now. He's down to around, I don't know how many laps that'll be, but I don't think he's actually going to be able to make it to the end here. So we'll see what happens there. And the first car on the track that is pit, I believe, is I don't know if it's Blackstone or 8K. It's one of them. First car on the track that is pit is 8K Isaiah. Okay. So he's about 20 seconds off the leader, Zaydencore. But Zaydencore is yet to pit. He's running really low on fuel right now, and his tires are slipping up the track as well. You can see he's having a hard time holding the bottom when he comes by the cameras there. And there is not a lot left in this race. It's going to be 6 to go this time. And you got to wonder if stretching the field is a good idea or not, especially when you're only in a group with one other car, so you're not going as fast as guys that are in a larger group. He's cutting it really close. Vibe Checks for You sitting in second place. Just kind of doing what the leader's doing, staying up behind him. He seems to be lifting a lot more. My apologies. Really should mute my phone during these things. Vibe Checks for You sitting in second place. I'm going to try and go through the field here now and just kind of give an update on all the drivers. So Zaydencore 24, currently leading this deal. Hasn't pit yet. He's making a really bold strategy call by trying to push the pitting as far as possible. And, I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the end, but he's certainly going to be making it further than I would have thought. I thought he would have ran out by now. So that'll be interesting. Vibe Checks for You sitting pretty in second place. He has had just a great day, honestly. He started on pole. He's been up at the front most of the day. I think that he's done everything he wanted to do in this race besides win it, and he's still got a chance to do that. He's a little bit better on fuel, I believe, than Vibe Checks, or than Zaydencore. And he is saying he's going to pit now, so he's going to pit with 5 laps to go in this race. We'll see what happens. Third place is Chris Bald-Paul. Very talented driver in that 19 car. He is also yet to pit, and he's going to come through the trial, but right now he is actually going to be taking over the lead of this event with 4 laps to go. And he may be actually close to good on fuel. Actually, no, he's not on lead lap anymore. So, apologies on that. Good Square is the next car on lead lap. I was gonna say, he did pit, didn't he? So Good Square is actually the next car on track. He's also pretty close to being good on fuel. He's there with the 26 Blackstone Warden. And I don't know which of these guys is actually going to be able to make it to the end. They both might be able to. They both might not be able to. So it's going to be interesting between these two what exactly happens. Next car back is 8K Isaiah. He blew his motor on like lap 4 and got back onto the lead lap by being the lucky dog. And he's currently sitting pretty in about... What spot would he be in right now? I believe he's going to be coming across the line in 4th or 5th. And Chris Paul is the leader now. So, it'll be interesting to see if those two cars towed up behind him will be able to catch up. Timing board got, I think it got deactivated, reactivated in between him crossing last time, which is why he didn't appear on it for me. But he probably can make it to the end, honestly. It's going to be very close. He doesn't have a drafting partner. He is really saving in the corners, though. He's barely on the throttle. And he's got those two cars towed up behind him, and I think they're running full throttle a little bit more than he is. I don't think they're doing as much as I thought they'd be doing, but they're definitely lifting a lot. So we'll see what happens. As it's only 2 laps to go now, and only a 4-second gap between the leader, Chris Paul, and Good Square and Blackstone Warden. And it's definitely going to be a fuel mileage race here. I think he's probably good to the end at this point, but it's hard to tell. I think he's definitely good if he keeps saving, but those cars behind him, they're definitely coming on pretty quick. So they come towards the white flag now. Good Square is towed up behind Blackstone Warden, and he goes... does a little pit fake there. White flag in the air. And Good Square and Blackstone Warden are closing, and they're definitely all running full throttle now. With only a lap to go. Chris Paul also running full throttle all the way around this track. He will have enough to make it back around, I believe. And it'll definitely be hard to see if these guys behind him are able to catch up to him. I don't think they're going to be able to. So if Chris Paul manages to hold this will be a pretty good race here. Pretty good win here in the Funrace. He was running up at the front a lot. Those two cars behind him are catching him pretty quick, but I don't think it's going to matter all that much. Don't think they're going to have the run on him. I mean, he's holding 195. They're not quite hitting 200. So as he comes through the tri-oval one last time, Chris Paul weathers the fuel mileage race out and is going to win the Funrace here. Number 2 at Daytona International Speedway. 131 fuel at the end. That's called cutting it close, folks. Blackstone Warden comes across second, followed by Good Square. 8K Isaiah, Zaydencore, and Creasem, sorry. Keep saying that as Creams. All come across there, the pitting cars. Vibe checks for you, who had a pretty dang good day out here. Finished his 7th after the pit strategy didn't quite unfold the way he would have liked. Waternet 54 comes past in 8th. The unpronounceable name man comes across in 9th. And NASCAR fame 333 comes across in 10th. Cam Baker comes across in 11th spot. And Roni Rares is somewhere. Don't know where, but he finishes outside the top 10 along with Zane DeTrain, who I believe DNF'd. I did not see him on track there at the end. So Chris Paul with a good win. Hopefully we can try and get an interview with Chris Paul after this thing. And yeah, he's backing up to go get gas apparently. Gonna try and get an interview here. And Chris Paul is going to burn it down here in the infield grass. That was a dang good race. It came down to fuel mileage, which some people don't like fuel mileage races, but if I'm going to be honest, fuel mileage races add a lot more into it than just pure driving skill. It adds in, computational skills and a lot of different things that make it a little bit of a different kind of ball game, so to speak, compared to a traditional just running flat out to the finish kind of deal. So Chris Paul with the win there. I don't know how much longer I'm on for, so I'll ask about that, but very good race there. And, I mean, Chris Paul just ran a great race there at the end. And came down to fuel mileage like that. I honestly didn't think that was the best choice in the world to not pit, but then he proved me wrong. So a little bit of fuel saving goes a long way, and that's why Chris Paul is doing donuts in victory lane right now and ain't nobody else's. So all right. Thank you guys so much for watching this race here on the Jackal Racing YouTube channel. I've been AJ Schlotterbeck. Been a little bit rough. First time getting things out here. Had some audio issues. But overall, pretty dang good race. I think it was 4 cautions for 9 laps. 8 or 9 laps. But a pretty dang good one. Chris Paul doing the burnouts right now on the apron. Thank you so much for watching. I've been AJ Schlotterbeck. I'd like to thank Jackal Racing for the opportunity to commentate this deal. And we will see you next time. Peace.